welcome everyone. This video deals with a prose for the summit written by Edmund Hillary from 12th standard English. Some people are very dare to face the adventurous in their life. Here the two people risk their lives to scale the Mount Everest called Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing. These are the two people who scaled the Mount Everest in the year 1953, Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing. This story of the summit narrates the achievement of Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay. They achieved success in climbing to the summit of the Mount Everest. John Hunt led the expedition to Mount Everest on May 29th in the year 1953. 6 months started for the expedition. Now let's see about the author. Sir Edmund Percival Hillary was born on 20th July in the year 1919 and died the 11th January in the year 2008. Was a New Zealand mountaineer, explorer, and a philanthropist. He had a great passion on the scaling the mountains and the trekking, and also he was a philanthropist. Philanthropist is nothing but the person who generously donates for the noble cause. He served as a Royal New Zealand Air Force as a navigator during the World War II. So during the World War II, he worked in the New Zealand Air Force. Following his ascent of Everest, Hillary devoted himself to assisting the Sherpas people of Nepal through the Himalayan Trust. Then after reached or scaled the Mount Everest, he decided to help the Sherpas. Sherpas means the Nepal tribes who help the mountaineers. Then he decided to help them, so he started a Himalayan Trust. Through that he helped the Sherpas, which he established. The high adventurers, no latitude for error, nothing venture, nothing win, a view from the summit, the remarkable memoir by the first person to conquer Everest are some of his famous work. So these are his famous writings about his adventurers. So it is better to learn the glossary. So before we get into the lesson, so you could understand some terms. Look at the first word, traverse. To cross a mountain slope horizontally or diagonally. The name given to such a crossing. The rope. A link members of climbing party for the safety. A party may be referred as a rope. So look at this picture. The people use the rope to connect each other, to link each other. The next, cornice. The overhanging mass of snow or ice along the ridge. They shaped like a curling crest of the wave. So look at the picture. So this is the cornice. The edge of the cornice is like a wave. The next one, cum. So look at the spelling, C-W-M, cum. An enclosed armchair shaped hollow situated at the head of the valley. So you could see a huge pit on the top of the hill station. Thus next one, scrambling. Climbing hurriedly on the hands and the knees. So look at this picture, the people moving with the hands and the knees. Wriggle. Wriggle means to move with the twist or turns. The next, tantalize. The tease or make difficult, a taunt. A crampon. The crampon, look at this picture. This is a spike shoe. So it is used to walk on the ice. The summit written by Edmund Hillary. It was adapted from the ascent of Everest by John Hunt. John Hunt, the man who led the expedition. So there are 6 members in his expedition. So here, the Edmund Hillary shared his experience to reach the Mount Everest. On May 28, the year 1953, so there were 6 men at Camp 8 on the South Col. There are a number of camp, that means the number of group people. They started journey to reach the Mount Everest. At the Camp 8, they stayed these persons at the South Col. South Col means here the lower part of the summit. The Edmund Hillary, the Tenzing, George Lowe, Alfred Gregory, and the 2 Sherpas, the Pemba and the Angnima. So there are 6 persons in the group, so including the Tenzing and the Edmund Hillary, and the 2 Sherpas. The Sherpas is nothing but the person, the local people, really who help the mountaineers, the Pemba and the Angnima. But the Pemba was too ill to climb, but unfortunately he fell sick. He could not reach further. The other heavily laden climbed, that is the height of 27,900 feet. But remaining people, so with their heavy load, they climbed and reached the 27,900 feet height. So here the Hillary and Tenzing put up a little tent So after reaching that altitude, the Hillary and Tenzing made a tent because they had to stay there and watched their three companions go down the ridge back toward the south pole. The remaining three they started moving down to reach the south pole again. As the sun set, Hillary and Tenzing crawled into the tent, put on all their warm clothing, and wriggled into their sleeping bags. So they made a small tent at the height of 20,900 feet. Then they crawled into the tent, just not walked into the tent, just crawled because the height of the was very low. Put on all their warm clothing and also they started wearing so all kind of warm clothing and wriggled into their sleeping bag. At last they entered the twist and turned into their sleeping bags. Sleeping bag means that is they had the bag with a huge bag with the zip. So after entering into that they closed the zip because the air will not enter into that. The next morning at 4 a.m. on May 29, they began to get ready for the climb. The next morning again, they woke up at the 4 a.m. in the early morning. So how they were very sincere on their business. The point number one. So what happened in the early morning? So what did they do? We started up our cooker and drank a large quantity of lemon juice and sugar, and followed this with our last tin of sardine and biscuit. The next morning at the early morning, they cooked the lemon juice and also they drank a large quantity with the sugar, and also they finished their last tin of sardine. Sardine means nothing but it's the tinned fish, a cooked fish, the stuffed in a tin. Look at this picture. So they ate the sardines with the biscuit. I dragged our axes and set into the tent. They cleaned the eyes of them and then rechecked and tested them. So then the Edmund Hewler dragged the oxygen cylinder because the whole night it was left outside of the tent, the fully covered with ice. So he just cleaned all the ice and he just checked and tested them. So now let's move to the point number two. I had removed my boots which had become wet on the day before. The previous day he just removed his book because he became very wet. So now it became very frozen and very solid. And they were now frozen solid. So I cooked them over the fire flame of the primus. The primus is nothing but a small kind of stove, the foldable stove. Look at this picture. And managed to serve them up. So just he lit the stove and he just cooked the shoe. That means he just showed the shoes on the flames to make it soften one, so that he could wear and walk on the ice. Over our down clothing, we donned our windproof, and onto our hands we pulled three pairs of gloves, silk, woolen, and windproof. Then after that they wore. So done means so wear, the persons of wore. Okay, they wore all kind of windproof coats, and also they used to wear the three pairs of gloves, the silk and woolen and windproof. So in order to escape from that kind of coldness, chillness. Now point number three. At 6:30 a.m., so we crawled out of the tent into the snow, hoisted over 30 lb of oxygen gear onto our backs, and connected up our mask and turned on the valves to bring life-giving oxygen into our lungs. So they woke up early morning 4 o'clock, but after completing all kind of necessary things and after wearing all kind of the protective gears, they came out of the tent at 6:30 a.m. and they placed 30 pound of the oxygen cylinder on their back and connected all the valves to the mask and turned on the valves. At last they gave the oxygen into their lungs. A few good deep breaths and we were ready to go. At last, so they had a good deep breath. So they breathed oxygen, and also they were felt very well being, so that they were ready to move on. Still a little worried about my cold feet, I asked Tenzing to move off. The Edmund Hillary felt his cold feet, so he asked his friend Tenzing to move first. The Tenzing also accepted his request and he started moving fast. Look at this picture. So this is the route way to reach the top of the Mount Everest. So there are several number of camps here. So they were at the camp number 8. At last they reached the height of 27,900 feet.